Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru for a hail-filled version of Positive Wednesday. Let's hear it for Positive Wednesday, everybody. Yeah. So pathetic. Yeah, that was pathetic. Let's hear it for Positive Wednesday. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The only thing that can get me down on Positive Wednesday is not enough positivity. Okay? Alright. It brings me tremendous pleasure to introduce to you radians. Radians are simply a different way to measure angles. Up in this point in your life, you have thought about angles predominantly as a measure of the amount of opening between two rays. That's how you've essentially thought about angles, okay? And this is still going to be true, but when we deal with radians, we tend to think about rotational angles. So here's what they usually do. They set what's called the initial side on to the positive x-axis, and then think about it like a clock. We can just think and keep rotating around and around and around, and it's just rotating. It's just going around in circles. So for instance, now it is absolutely no big deal at all to have a 3,600 degree angle. But you should know that's the same thing as a 0 degree angle. Think about it. How many degrees, or how many times around a circle is 3,600 degrees? It's 10 times. So what you do is you start here, and you go around once, and you go around twice, and you go around 3 times, and you go around 10 times, and you end up right back where you started. Okay? But if you think about mechanics, if you think about our solar system, this happens all the time in real life, that you get right back to where you started and you rotate around things in a circle. So, like a clock. Thank you. Okay? So that's where radians are useful. They're used to measure angles of rotation. So 720 degrees, how many circles is that? That's 2 circles. Okay? 180 degrees, how many circles is that? That's a half of a circle. Okay, cool. So that's your intro. Now let's talk a little bit more. The most important thing for you to remember is that 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. Okay? So then how many degrees is 360 degrees? Ah, I noticed something there. Where have you seen that 2 pi r before? It's the circumference of a circle. So let me stop and show you exactly what a radian is. Okay? If you had a circle of radius 10, okay? 1 radian is however many degrees it takes. So let's get some units. That's 10 inches. Well, 1 radian is however many degrees or rotation it takes to get an arc that is the exact same distance as the radius. Okay? So I want you to think about how many radians will there be in a circle? 1, 2, 3. I'm just taking a guess. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and some left over. Can you imagine that? There are 2 pi radians in 1 circle, because you already knew that. Okay? Now, this is confusing. I know it is, because you've lived your whole life under degrees, and I can see it on your faces, even though I'm not even watching you watch this video, which is probably weird for you. Okay? If this distance is 10, this radian, this is 1 radian. It's about an angle measure, but it matches up with however many we had to rotate to get these two things to equal each other. Okay? Don't worry about it. What is the most important thing you should remember? 180 degrees is pi radians. So let me tell you the next thing. You will rarely worry about 3 radians. That number means nothing to me. But pi over 2 radians, that means a lot to me. Right? That's 90 degrees. So we write radians almost always in terms of pi. Okay? So let's start by picking some famous degrees and turning them into radians. 30 degrees equals how many radians? 90 degrees equals 270 degrees equals. Okay, and all you have to do on these, first of all, there is a rule, and you're going to be able to figure out the rule very quickly. But as long as you remember that 180 degrees is what? Pi radians. You just do these with the proportions. 180 is to pi. Come on. Like what? 30 is to x. So you do 30 times pi divided by 180. X equals 30 times pi divided by 180. Okay? And that becomes, anyone know what that is? Pi over 6. Well, that's good. What was pi again? How many degrees? 180. And what's 180 divided by 6? 30. So eventually you're going to be able to do these in your head. Your minds are just blown right now, so just keep working. You don't know how to do it in your head yet, so what should we do for 90? Set up a proportion. 180 is to pi, like 90 is to x. X equals 90 times pi divided by 180, which is pi over 2. We've already covered that one, so that's how you would technically find it if you were confused last time. Okay? And for this one, you'd do 270 is to pi, whoops, is to some weird form of pi, like, hold on, I'm sorry. 180 is to pi, like 270 is to x. Once again, you do 270 times pi divided by 180, and for this one, that is 3 pi over 2 radians. I guess I'll put my little r's here. You don't really usually put the r's, but I want to make sure you guys understand the notation. Okay? What if we wanted to go the other way? How many degrees is 3 pi radians equals how many degrees? Just do the same thing. Okay? Pi is to what? 180. Like 3 pi is to x. 3 pi times 180 divided by pi. Oh, well, that's nice. And the answer is? What's 3 times 360? I'm sorry, what's 3 times 180? It's 540, right? So hopefully that makes sense. If 2 pi radians, 2 pi, how many degrees is 2 pi radians again? 360. So 3 pi should be more than that, and hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you guys are going to struggle to retain this stuff, which is the most important part. Okay? What about 2 pi over 3 radians equals how many degrees? Okay, let's we'll come up with the formulas at the end. Let's just do it with proportions, because I want you to know. You're going to be taking your SAT or ACT someday, and you're going to forget the formula, and you're just going to use a proportion, and it's going to be just as fast. Okay? So 2 pi over 3, what is going on with my brain? 2 pi over 3 is to x like, not 180 is to pi on this one. I just got to make sure I stay consistent. So here I have radians over degrees equals radians over degrees. So x equals 2 pi over 3 times 180 divided by 1, and then divided by pi. Okay, let's see. Make that a 60. That's gone. The pi's are gone. You get 2 times 60, 120 degrees. Let's check to make sure that makes sense. What's pi again? 180. So is 2/3 pi more or less than 180? Less. Okay, good. Okay? Got it? So now let's come up with a formula. What did we do every time we knew the degrees and we wanted to find the radians? We took our degrees and did what? Multiply by pi? And then what? Divide by 180. Multiply by pi, divide by 180. Multiply by pi, divide by 180. Okay? So, this would be something you would take a note on when you watch this. If we have degrees and we want to know radians, we take degrees times pi and divide by 180. Okay? And what do we do when we had radians and we wanted to find degrees? Let's see. We multiplied by the radians and divide by pi, right? So let's see. We multiplied by 180 and divide by pi. Multiply by 180, divide by pi. So if we have radians and we want to find degrees, take our radians, multiply by 180, and divide by pi. Okay? And that is that. Tell me what you're positive about right now. What are you happy about? It's Positive Wednesday. Let's give it up for Arthur. He finished his quiz.